Hello and welcome to the Face Building Podcast, episode 70, with your lovely and amazing host, Vladi Kuna.
And Norman Greater. Hi, guys.
Hello, lovely people. Today we want to put something out and we want to call it, Are You Lying to Yourself or to Others? And maybe it provokes you a little bit and you think, I'm not lying at all. Vladi and I had the pleasure to listen to a podcast just the other day with Emma Greedy, I think it's her name, in the School of Greatness. And she's a very powerful and very successful woman. And one line out of many lines that stood out for me was when she said, I set clear goals, and whatever supports the goal, I will do. I will follow up. I will do meetings about. But whatever does not follow my goal, I won't do and accept. And this brings us back to, are you lying to yourself or to others? When you accept meetings, when you accept going out for coffee with friends, but you really don't feel it or you don't like them anymore? Are you doing things? Are you going on trips? You know, there are various things we all do every day. And sometimes we come home and we're totally out of energy. And we say, was this really necessary? But then we have excuses why we do it. This has been always done like that. But then you're lying to yourself because it does not support your goal. If you meet with people with a low frequency, it does not support your goal. If you say, I want to be happy and healthy and joyful and light and love every day, then you should stay away from people that drag you down. And we want to talk about this topic today and slide into that a little bit from one side and the other side, where we lie to ourselves, where we lie to others, and what we can do to prevent that and be more honest with ourselves. Vladi, what do you think?
I love that. I'm just going to say her name is Emma Greed. She was spelling it and saying that it's often misspelled. I'm going to start with a quote by Neville Goddard. So he says, this is truth. Everything in my world is a manifestation of the mental activity which goes on within me, and that the conditions and circumstances of my life only reflect the state of consciousness with which I'm fused. So if we go, what is the mental activity and what are the stories you telling yourself around certain things? Because they become your mental activity. And how much can you let go and forgive? I'm going to tie it into the lies, because if we hold on to a grudge and resentment and hate and anger, or it's not that we're holding on to it. I'm going to actually rephrase that. We use a different way of expressing ourselves or steaming off. I'm going to say it bluntly, steaming off. We all have to just occasionally steam off. What is that way that you know, that you find yourself, how you're dealing with things? You know, like when you react instead of responding, we use certain ways. Like Emma specifically was talking about anger. And, you know, I know that my thing is frustration. So when things are not working my way and it's staying long and I get frustrated. But everybody has something else. So unless we are truthful to ourselves and start working on ourselves, like Neville says, it's what goes in within you. Because everything you're experiencing, the circumstances, conditions, or situations, and they might be mostly the adverse, let's say, they are attracted into your life because of the vibration you are in. If you imagine yourself being a magnet, there's no way you can be so happy and powerful and wealthy and loving and lovable and attract something bad. However, I will say this because many of you ask always, well, but things happen to me. I've had the best week. Like this week, I've been amazing. I was giving to people. I woke up. I felt, I'm choosing for the day to be the best. And this happened to me. There's no way I could have attracted it with the energy I was in this week. However, there is a cause and effect law. It doesn't always happen exactly in the moment you're vibrating. There are reasons, and it's not that you're attracting something adverse or negative specifically. You don't plan to have a car crash. You don't sit here in the morning and say, today my car's I'm gonna end up in a hospital. No, we don't think like that. However, What is the outcome, the result, emotional result of that experience that is going to bring us? It's usually that is the vibration we're in. So if we want attention, I can bring this in a very simple term. Children want our attention, right? So if they're throwing themselves on the floor in the aisle, or they doing something really naughty, throwing toys and tantruming, it's usually because they lack attention. They calling for attention because they know my mom and dad are busy. So if I'm really nice, they say, oh, go and play something, go and watch this one, I have to finish this. We all have been there, right? So now the child realized that when they start throwing out tantrums, it's so distractive. They're not thinking like us, but it's so distractive that actually they catch our attention. So they create whatever situation will give them what they desire. So think about, if you attract a certain partner, you attract certain health, you attract financial situation, or whether it's your job. And you actually feel that emotion that the result gives you, you attract it, is the emotion you are somewhat at the subconscious level craving or attracting or thinking or overthinking. Sometimes we just use a different kind of stories and tell ourselves a negative. Are you being truthful to yourself or the others? Means you're either lying to others and sometimes you don't even know about it. It's not like you're intending to always, but there is something we're doing and we're not pausing. And I'll give you a key. Number one thing that actually changes this changed this for me was taking responsibility. Take responsibility for your thinking. If you change the way you think, everything will change. Change the way you feel so you can actually start feeling differently. Find good in everything and everybody. Change the way you actually look at the results. Like even every single result, whether it's the ones, especially the ones you don't like. It's like, well, there's no way I created this. Yes, you have. And that was my part. Whether you're dealing with disease or divorce or financial bankruptcy or whatever massive, what we call a big challenge, there is a reason why we're there. Because we were not positive. It doesn't mean you're a bad person, so don't actually misrepresent us. It's just that you're thinking fear. You are worrying constantly. You're adding worry, fear, and doubt. You're doubting yourself, or you're doubting the thing. If you believe that everything will work out for you perfectly and everything works out in divine order, and there's infinite possibilities for you to experience, and it doesn't matter what you experience today, because you will get whatever you would love. That's the way it changes. Norman, back to you.
I love what you just shared. And Vladi spoke about frequency. We frequently speak about frequency and this vibration stuff. And probably you're wondering and say, now how can I find out the frequency I'm vibrating on? Whether a car crash comes or a loving partner comes or more money, whatever side you are on the frequency. The easiest translation of the frequency you're currently sending out are your emotions. And it's again, are you lying to yourself or to others? Are you aware of your emotions and you don't feel yourself as a victim due to circumstances on the outside? Like, I woke up this morning not very happy because I was awake between 2:30 to 40ish this morning and probably 4:30. I was basically awake. I was meditating then for 40 minutes at one point. I ate something because I was hungry. So I went back to bed, and my first meeting at 9:30, I did not jump for joy. I also did not do my full morning sports routine. I was just, you have days like that where you're totally off track and nothing seems to work and flow, and you think, oh, yes, I'm a lucky child. I have the greatest day in my life, but today, I'm not sure. So I was there, again hungry, quite tired at 9:30 to wait for my meeting. And it's 9:35, 9:38, and you know how that is. It's 9:40, 9:42. I text him. I say, hey, I'm here. No response, only one check, which means he did not see it. Then I started to work on our last podcast, on the post-production. And at one point I figured, now it's 9:50. I think he just forgot to put it in at this very time. The interesting thing is to go 3 steps back. Yesterday I had a talk with a friend and we were talking about weeds in the garden. And the friend said, whenever I see a weed, I just take it out. I go through my garden every day and in 5 minutes I'm done. And I say, yeah, I should have done that too, because if I look outside, we have been on a cruise for 2 weeks and gone. But now I will go again on a cruise for 4 weeks. And I thought, yeah, no need to do it now, because when I come back, it has grown back. But it has grown back more. So in the back of my mind, I thought I would love to rip all of this stuff out, because it feels more easy and comfortable for me to walk around and say, it's all in shape. It does not need to be perfect, but also not dirty, messy, or full of weeds. So basically, unconditionally and unaware of, I sent out an order to the universe, like, before I go, I would love to do that. But due to my meetings that are scheduled on the last 2 days, there was no time to do that. So at 9:50, I stopped on the post-production of the podcast, and I thought, the sun is out. It's a beautiful morning. Should I do the weeds right now? And my friend, my business partner, will for sure call me when he sees my message. And that's what I did. I made it almost through the whole garden and the outside until he called. It was 10:50, I think. Oh my gosh, I put it in the wrong time, whatever. Then we went on. Then he forgot his phone. He had to go back to his phone. So I had time to have breakfast, what was on my mind. And what I want to tell you with this whole story is the time in between, what Vladi said. It takes time. When you wish for something, you don't get it a second afterwards, but it goes faster. And if you really realize what you're vibrating out and what the universe sends you back, you realize it's all connected. Some people call it karma, the law of cause and action. No, cause and effect. It's
Cause and effect, yeah.
The law of cause and effect. The law of attraction in general, it's all the same thing. It's what you're sending out, you will receive back. And like our mentor Wayne Dyer always said, you don't get what you want, you get more of who you really are from within, based on your vibration. And again, how do you know your vibration? Look at your feelings. How do you feel right now? And if you say, not so good, the question is, what needed to happen to feel not good, to get you into a vibration, into a frequency that's not good? You had to think a certain way. Back to our today's topic. Are you lying to others or are you lying to yourself? If you want to please all the time the people around you, and that's what Emma shared in the podcast as well, said, I'm very strict in the things I do. I'm very straight out. Everybody knows my opinion. I'm not holding back. And the more I think about what she said, it's probably the playbook of success. Another topic we probably want to slide into, Vladi, is the topic of money.
It's so funny. Guys, I have to say this now.
Yes, please.
We're studying this in our study group, Happy Money Bike and Honda. And I was and I looked at money. I've got like a 50 pounds, British pounds note. And we were talking about the way of how money can be happy and unhappy. And as Norman's talking, I'm like, next episode, we will talk about money. See how
it works.
So money it is for your next episode.
Money it is. And I will hand you the ball in a second, Vladi, because you're also master of affirmations and things. Like even things in your surrounding. I have a note here, about 100,000 euros. I have, where did it go? I switched the side. I have 1 million and 1 billion in a note. And it's all nice to have. And what I realized, especially after listening to Emma again, she always knew, and Vladi will touch more on that because she heard the podcast more than once. If you focus on money and say, money is mine and it's not a possibility and a choice, but I give good service and I expect something back, this is the determination that you need for money, for love, for everything you want to have in your life. And I realized the more I know what I want to have money for, the faster it comes. But before I tell you more about that, Vladi, what did you get out of Emma's podcast?
I love her. I can't believe I never came across her before. So I already ordered her book. By the way, if you guys want, her book is called Start With Yourself. I love how brutally honest she is, in a good way. She's grounded, like, it's not the cockiness, it's that confidence, but the true confidence that comes out of realness. She reminds me a little bit of, well, not in many, but in that honesty, she reminds me of me, because that's the one thing I've always had with the friends. They were like, they don't have to second guess what I think. They know. They know my opinions about things and how I feel about certain things. And I don't really share too many opinions, but I just don't like the pet talks and the moaning. We call it BMW, which is bitching, moaning, whining. But so any kind of like a chit chats over the coffee where we complain and moan and make assumptions about other people and point at other people, it means that you are not on your purpose. You not set your goals, that you're not working towards your growth and your life goals if you have time to worry about other people. It's just as simple as that. If you're on your mission and you want to do something for yourself, for your create the legacy, whatever it is, it doesn't have to be a building $1 million business. It is something that is meaningful for you. And that's what I love about Emma's podcast. She was really pointing out that how she looks around, and it feels these days everything's a competition. Obviously social media and what's happening out there with AI is not really helping, because it really comes down to the point where you're working, you might be very well educated, experienced, you're really working well, and then these people just come out, use AI, and they create videos that makes you feel, well, I'm not really doing enough, I'm not really good at this, because they keep throwing different things. And she did say that what happened to us as a humanity, that it's almost as if unless you have $1 billion business, it's not good enough. She said, what about all those mini businesses who are employing your local people? What about those smaller companies that are grounding, they're teaching people to like they're focusing on the things that really matter. And without those, the large corporations wouldn't exist anyway. But she said, we feel as a people that, well, if I only do this and not that, I'm not good enough. And I can, with the authorship, I can compare it to books. I'm an author of 3 books so far, another one soon coming out, hopefully. But it's this competition. You can see it with authors as well. I am a 3 times international bestselling author, and I'm telling you, it's easy to get that. You can actually get it. But when I started, I thought, oh my goodness, what is it I do? Because the misrepresentation on so many people who are trying to make money, and okay, there's nothing wrong with it, but not in the best way. Sometimes we spend 10,000s on books and marketing and have not made the results that I've actually made on myself, starting to look into different things. So that comes to lie and truth and worry and doubt. If you experience few things like this, where you pay a lot of money, you spend a lot of time and energy, and then you don't get the results, your enthusiasm goes down. In fact, since we're on enthusiasm, I've got a massive sentence here, say, be in action with enthusiasm. And that's what is number one thing I like about Emma. She's an action taker. And I really think, well, Norman started about affirmations. Affirmations are great things, but everything has a different frequency and vibration. When I say that, it means the energy. So if we talk about gratitude, I can do gratitude, Norman can do gratitude, and you guys will do the gratitude. Each one of us will be on a different level frequency. Why? Because our intention doing the gratitude matters. Our enthusiasm doing the gratitude, the feeling great or being grateful is different for all of us. And if you're doing chores, and I'm going to put my hand up because I was talking about it yesterday in our study group. When I started, when I was studying with Bob Proctor, I remember I was doing the gratitude journals, and you then want to come deeper, not just write, I'm so happy and grateful now that I now live in an amazing house, or have a car, or have a successful business, or I'm a New York Times bestselling author, and all this stuff. I went deeper, thanks for my eyes that can see, thanks for my exceptional thinking or extraordinary results. I went to my overflowing enthusiasm, my phenomenal attitude, and I was coming up with these great phrases. And then it became a habit to write them every single day. I felt really good about them. Now, see, the difference was I felt very good about them, so it worked perfectly. But then a few months down the line, writing pretty much the same things, it kind of faded away, the enthusiasm, and I was just doing it as a chore. So now I was still doing the same thing, still my own thing, great intention, and yet my energy went so down with the way I was doing it that I would not produce the same results, because I was just ticking off boxes thinking, okay, what else I missed, out of all the amazing phrases that came out. And this is the affirmations you use. You stand in a mirror. I like Norman's example. We all have bad days. If you look online, people don't admit it. They're like, oh my God, you just have to be positive. No, nobody is 100% positive. Take it from us. Nobody is aligned all the time. Nobody is just successful. I love Mary Morrissey talking about first you get a black belt in failure and then you have a black belt in success. You cannot get to be successful unless you fail and you hit the adversity. If you're not able to work through all this, how can you help people? You can't, because you actually haven't in your life experience going through it. And knowing stuff and doing stuff, there is a huge bridge. You need to build yourself in between. You can know everything in the world. You can be the smartest person in the world. If you're not doing it and applying it and embodying the knowledge, it's just two islands far away from each other. You can't walk across them. So what we're doing in our life, on our amazing journey, we should find the joy in a journey, because we're actually building this amazing bridge to our great future. And I'll end it before I hand it to Norman. Fear. I really believe that all of us mostly fear not what's happening right now, because somehow we know that we're not going to die today and they're not going to come and take away from us everything, whatever your experience is. The fear comes when we start thinking about the future, but we're thinking about the future in a way we're seeing it in front of us now, and we don't quite believe, or we haven't practiced ourselves enough to believe that this is what we deserve and that's the life we will be living. And that's part of Emma's kind of thinking, that she always saw herself up there. Her standard was always up. Raise your standard, no matter what it is, and negotiate as that person. Decide as that person. So definitely make a decision, whether in your private or business life. It's very important to make decisions from the person you desire to be. Otherwise, you can never raise the frequency. Now, it may not be comprehensible for us. However, this is a quantum leap field. There are things that work. I'm going to dial Norman's number now, and he's going to have that. It's going to ring his phone. It's not going to ring yours, because there is a frequency and it connects exactly the two things. But if you're not one with your goal, one with the dream, and if it's, and even more so, if that's not your goal or your dream, it was your parents, because they told you if you get that, you will have that, and you started believing to at some point, or you married and your partner and they said, well, we must do this in order to have this life. That is a very wrong thinking. Remember what I said? Take responsibility for the way you think, feel, have a result, and every result you have. It's very important. Norman.
Yeah, because you created it 100%. And I will postpone my supposed answer that I wanted to give you to next podcast, when we will speak about money. And I want to read you, to finish today's podcast, something that I received on Monday. It's the motivational newsletter from Arnold Schwarzenegger, we probably all know. And the headline is, Forget the Finish Line. It started when I was 70. People began asking me why I still trained. When was I going to stop? Wasn't I done? I'm almost 79 now. The question came more often, not less. And after almost a decade of being confused about what the hell they were talking about, I finally understand what they really were saying. They are not asking about me. They are telling me something about themselves. To them, fitness isn't for life. It's for a goal they have right now. A number on a scale, a summer, a wedding, and once you reach it or give up on it, you stop. That's the only way they know. So when they look at me still training every day at 78, they genuinely can't make sense of it. I don't say this to criticize them. The fitness industry built that model. It sold it to them. 6-week challenges, 12-week challenges, before and after photos, what Vladi spoke about just a couple minutes ago. As always, we show those beautiful pictures. Every product, every program, every advertisement points to a finish line. The problem is that finish line doesn't exist with our health. And I also want to say with our personal development and with our frequency, there's no finish line. It never stops. And the numbers prove it. Then I will jump over a couple things. I've always believed to have to learn to see the wins and not the big ones you see on social media. The small ones, the quiet ones, the ones that don't show up in a before and after photo. And that's so important. If you change your frequency, your vibration, your emotion, just a tiny bit, if you change your way of thinking, just a tiny bit, it will change a lot. But it's not for you to show on Instagram right away because the wins are not seen. So back to the question, why do I keep training? Because it works every single day in ways that compound over time into something most people never get to experience. It's why I can still ski at 78. It's why my mind stays sharp. It's why I recover from setbacks, surgeries, hard days, hard years, faster than I have any right to. It does everything I talk about in this newsletter and more, and the research backs all of it up. I'm addicted to that daily win. So he does not go for the big wins like I need to go over finish line, but hey, I chose some time for myself. I was straight out today. I said a positive affirmation. These are the wins, the small wins. Once you understand there is no finish line, you stop losing. And this sentence is so important that I read it again. Once you understand there is no finish line, you stop losing. You stop starting over. You stop asking when it ends. You just keep going week after week, win after win. That's not a 6-week transformation, that's life transformation. And that's basically the reason why we are here in the Faith Building Podcast, to give you support, to give you ideas, to give you our knowledge, to share that with you openly and honestly, that you can take something away from the buffet that we built week after week after week. And it's not that we want to cross a finish line at one point and say, now we are done. We have to create 100 or 1,000 or 1,000,000 podcasts. Then we are done. No, we do it because we have joy and it gives us fun and pleasure. So don't make life about crossing finish lines and showing it on Instagram right away. Be a constant learner, be straight out, and just be aware. Are you lying to yourself or to others? And it would be amazing if you would start to be more honest to yourself, be more straight out with others. And we see and hear you again about a great topic of money and probably more about Emma and other mentors in next week's episode. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and keep smiling. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.